Hi guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be kind of like a continuation of my Pan That Palette update. If you guys saw that, I think I posted that maybe last week-ish or so. But anyway, I was talking about how I was gonna introduce my Pan That Palette 2.0 and I wanted to do it in a separate video because I have some thoughts about that. So if you guys didn't know from the dogs are playing. If you guys didn't know, I was working on two palettes. That's always kind of been my thing for Pan That Palette. One year I did do one huge eyeshadow palette, and that was my Mickey Mouse by Sephora collection. And I had like 15 eyeshadows, and I kind of got tired of working just on eyeshadows. Anyway, I feel like working on a face palette and an eyeshadow palette works really well for me, for the way I pan things. And so at the beginning of the year, I picked an eyeshadow palette, a small palette from Sephora. It had only 6 eyeshadows, but I was incorporating frankening other shadows in it. Eventually I have almost used it up. If you guys saw my last update, I only had a little bit of product, around 2 pans for that palette, and that was it. And so I want to go ahead and introduce to you guys my next Pan That palette. And for this palette, a drum roll please. I feel like a lot of people are going to have a lot of thoughts. A lot of people thought that the Sephora palette that I picked was really boring. So I feel like people are going to have the same thoughts about this palette that I'm going to share with you guys. But I have to kind of think about how it's going to work for me, how it's going to help me use up my stuff, things that it's going to let me, how it's going to let me work through my stuff and potentially even finish it by the end of the year. And that's ultimately my goal, is always to finish things up. And so I'm sorry if you guys find this palette boring, but it's just what works for me. And I hope that you guys will continue to watch and support my panning journey as the year of 2022 ends. So without any more further ado, the palette that I chose as my Pan That Palette 2.0 for 2022, get to it Rebecca, is this 6 shadow pan from e.l.f. This is from the e.l.f., God, maybe it was a long time ago, but it was a palette. Sephora, Ulta, e.l.f. came out with this kind of kit. They were being sold at Walgreens, and they were based on the villains, the Disney princess villains. I got 2 kits. One was Evil Queen and the other one was Maleficent, and this is the Maleficent palette. It has 6 eyeshadows. It's very cool toned, and I think it's gonna work a lot. It's gonna work good for me towards the fall and winter. That's kind of mostly why I picked this one. And the other reason why I picked this one is because this one has a black shade. You guys know I don't pan black eyeshadow, so in reality I'm only working on 5 shades. So you have a cream shade, a silver shade, a matte, not a matte, a dark gray shade. This one is kind of purpley / brown type shade, and then this one is a dark green shade. So I have been using this one even before I decided to pan it. I did use a little bit of this before. My phone doesn't have like a zoom or like a autofocus from the front camera, so you guys won't be able to see very well, but this cream shade has a little bit of a dent. And then as you guys can see, I have used these 2 shades before. This one has also a bit of a dent, and this one not so much. This darker brown purpley shade, I have used it before. I am wearing it today as my lower lash liner, and I only use, it's one of those shades that you only kind of tap in the middle, so it doesn't have much of a dip, but you can see definitely the bristle holes on the flat of surface. And the same thing with this green one. I have used the green one in my outer V a couple of times, and I already started working on this, and a lot of people at work complimented me when I wear this green shade on the outer V of my eyes, and so I'm excited to try it that way. A lot of these shades I can use as an all over lid, especially these 2 shades right here. These 2 shades I can use as liners, or these 2 I can use this shade as an all over lid shade. And I know that they're kind of dark, but I do have a couple of cream shadows, like ColourPop eyeshadows, and like this gold shade from Violet Voss that I can use as a lid shade, and then so I can always use these darker shades as a crease shade or as liners, multitask them. So I'm really hoping, for sure this cream shade's not gonna be a problem. I can always use it to set my eyeshadow primer with. So I'm not worried about those, but I think these two will be a little bit challenging, but I think that they are usable, so I can use them by the end of the year, especially in combination with this other single shadows that I mentioned before. So this did come with a little plastic like sheet on top with the names of the shadows, but I didn't want to like mess with them too much, so I ended up taping it to the top of the like closure thing here. So this shade right here is called Flora, Fauna, and Spell. And then down here you have Deep Sleep and Thorns. If you care for the black shade, it's called Raven Black. But like I said, I'm not gonna focus on that one. So I do have 5 shades that I'm hoping to finish. I was thinking about adding another face palette, but I really wanna focus, a lot of my face palettes have blushes in them. And so I am working on my cream blush palette. If you guys didn't know, for my Partners in Cream, I'm down to 1 cream blush. And so if I can't use the blush with the whole palette, like I don't want to start it if I can't use it, you know what I mean? So for now I'm only adding this one, and I'm excited to start working on my single bronzers and stuff like that. But for now, this is gonna be my Pan That Palette 2.0. I hope you guys are not too disappointed, and I hope you guys are excited as I am, and hoping that I can get to finish these 5 shades by the end of the year. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on my next update, which should be an official finale for my previous 2 palettes and the first update for this palette. So anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.